and then we'll get started with our presentation. One little note, my internet has been a little in and out this morning, so I am going to be probably needing to present without my camera on, but I just wanted to kind of let you know ahead of time if you were wondering why. And then, of course, Julie, if at any time, or Andrew, y'all can feel free to just jump in and say, we cannot hear you, effectively. That shouldn't mess me up too bad. Thank you, Katie. So I am Amber Simpson. I work with NIT, and I am the Texas director for NIT. And so, I am going to be working closely with any partners that we have. And, hopefully we'll be able to answer any questions that you have and hear from you a little bit about your vision and what you're kind of looking for in a partner and through this partnership throughout this time together. I also have Julie Broskopf with me, so I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, Katie. My name's Julie Broskopf. I'm the executive in residence for Texas. I am a retired superintendent, and our district was able to go from several schools that were in need of improvement and to an 89 on A through F. And it took us 5 years. It took really revamping our structures and our systems so that we were able to meet the needs of our teachers and our leaders. So NIT is really about building capacity within district context. So knowing the strengths of your district, what your goals are, and working with you to tailor the plan so that it's what Chester ISD needs. And so we would love to hear a little more about your district and kind of what your vision is for implementing high quality instructional materials. If you don't mind sharing some of that with us, would that work, Katie?
Sure. We are a very small 1A school district. We have a total enrollment from pre-K to 12th of 214 right now. So our elementary campus recently got out of IR with the alternate evaluation that they came out with. So that was through the pandemic and through all the instructional strategies that we implemented, we were able to come out. But my goal and my vision is to sustain that and continue growth. We do struggle a lot with needing people here and the lack of substitutes and all that. But I think if we get those good teaching strategies in place and continue to grow on them and support our faculty and staff, then we will reach our end goals. Again, the high school campus 6th through 12th has been at a C rating for a long time, which there's definitely room for growth there. And our 100% graduation rate seems to be what saves us a lot. So I want to move from that and make it more solid on the instructional side. So we're just looking for growth for our district and moving in the right direction.
That's great. So what is your role in your district?
Well, funny thing you should ask right now. Yes, pretty much everything. I'm currently the pre-K through 12th principal and the interim superintendent. So if I do get interrupted in this, it's because we have a ton going on right now. But I wanted to try to jump on and at least get the recorded version of it if I couldn't be in the whole thing.
Perfect.
Absolutely. And we're so happy to have you here. And I shared with the last group, you're rural and I'm rural. So that's part of the reason why I got to have my camera off sometimes with my internet. But I grew up in rural schools. And so it's very near and dear to my heart. And, the thing with NIT and the people that work for NIT is we recruit highly skilled and highly effective people from districts that have done the work with NIT, in partnership with NIT. Oftentimes I was in a school, we partnered with NIT, and then I went to work for NIT. So we have, been instructional coaches, we've been administrators, we've done the work. And so, that's why when we do partner with you, we are able to really dig in and get deep with that work and help you meet your goals. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just turn my camera off to be safe, but we're gonna continue on here we've already kind of done our introductions, but in today's presentation, we're going to just give you a little overview of who we are as an organization and what we do, and then why you might want to partner with us. And then we are going to share some exemplars and qualifications with you, with just some current work that we've done with other partners, around high quality instructional materials, and then save some time for you to ask any questions that you might have, or, we can go deeper in something that was discussed in the presentation. And so NIT, we really operate off of our mission and vision. And our mission is to build educator effectiveness, to give all students the opportunity for success. And it's a simple statement on the page, but there's a lot involved in that. Educator excellence and giving students opportunities for success. And so, our vision is truly that every student in America is taught by an excellent teacher, no matter if it's rural, urban, suburban, and that they are supported by effective leaders every year. And so we believe that being intentional is crucial, and sustained high quality investments in educators are a direct result of success for all students, and that it is essential. That piece is essential if we want to eliminate those equity gaps. And so as an organization, we are committed to raising achievement levels for all students, and we focus on the most powerful lever for change, teachers and the leadership that supports them. And so that's really where we start our work is with that leadership piece. And so we operate off of this theory of action and whatever work we're doing with our partners. And it's really, it's all lumped together into, we really want to build capacity through training and coaching and thought partnership with NIT. We are thought partners. We aren't a cookie cutter approach. And so it's really about helping you meet your goals. And so we start that work by making sure that we've established clear expectations with what your vision is, what the goals are for the work, and being a thought partner in that process, and helping you to prioritize and increase instructional excellence, and also the coherence of the instructional core, which is standards, curriculum, and then instruction, really evaluating that instructional component in connection with the standards and curriculum, and then providing feedback on the work, assessing that work, looking at assessments that are connected to that curriculum and how to implement that at a high quality level, and then growing educator capacity within the implementation of that curriculum. And so really making a point to engage teachers and campus leadership in job embedded collaborative learning that helps to improve instruction. And so with that, we develop and work to sustain those structures and systems on your campus to make sure they're accomplishing those goals that have been set. And one of the things that sets NIT apart is that we are really outcomes focused. We maintain focus on the outcomes, which is structuring schools for success, improving the classroom instruction, and evaluating impact of what we're doing on classroom instruction, making sure that it's reaching the students, increasing educator retention through the support that is provided through these structures and systems, because we know teachers feel supported. That plays a heavy hand in them staying in a district. And then, of course, it's all about growing student achievement, and we always come back to that. We maintain focus on that one because that's what it's all about. And so just a little bit about us as an organization. We have been around for 20 years. Even if you haven't heard of us, we've been here and we've been growing rapidly across the nation. We have partnered with schools and institutions in 20 states, and some of those are state departments of education, and some of the work that we do there is, through the school improvement work, and then also developing instructional rubrics based off of the teaching standards. Of course, the pandemic allowed us to really get into the virtual instruction and help to coach teachers around how to be effective in that work. And then we do some online data management and resource portals that contains the support and training there for for people to be able to access. And then, through these partnerships, we've been able to work with 1,000 districts and charter organizations in 20 states, which equates to 8,500 schools, K-12, both, or all of public, private, and charter, but then also the urban, the rural, and the suburban type of settings. And so we've also been able to partner with 75 colleges and universities to really start to work on our pre-service teachers, to help them to really be able to recognize effective instruction and how to implement these pieces. We also partner with the U.S. Department of Education through some grants that we have, and they're big grants, and we utilize our evidence-based strategies to improve the outcomes in those schools, which are typically high need. But since we're in Texas, I wanted to expand upon, the work that we are doing in Texas and have been doing in Texas for several years. And so you see that on the screen, but we've there's a lot of acronyms here that I kind of wanted to unpack. So we've been working with the Teacher Leader Grant through TEA, and we're developing teacher leaders on campuses. So helping them to coach and be mentors and support and help to work with the leadership team to establish common language for teaching and learning on campus. We've also been partnered with several districts through RSSP, which again is in conjunction with TEA, and that's Resilient School Support Program, which came about in the pandemic to help people with that virtual instruction piece, but now has shifted focus into really focusing on learning acceleration strategies and how are we helping students, following the pandemic to ensure that they are on grade level. Some of the other work where you see the MPA, we're doing a lot with a mentor program allotment where we're helping to develop mentors on campus to mentor new teachers coming into the district and make sure that they have a strong foundation. Again, going back to that retention piece, really working to increase that teacher retention. And then ESF, which I'm sure you're familiar with, just working together for school improvement in partnership with the school and TEA, in their tip plan, really implementing the structures and systems that would help to improve the achievement and grow teacher capacity on the campus. And then also we're a vetted provider through TEA, and then we're also doing a lot of TIA work across the state. And so I wanted to kind of unpack what would be the benefit of partnering with us. And, I've talked about this a little bit, but we really do strive to be thought partners with the district and with any partners. So whether that be at the district level or the school level, we work side by side with you to help you meet your goals. So it's not a one size fits all. We start early on developing a strong relationship and just wanting to hear what you already have going in your district. What are the initiatives that you have? What efforts have been made to grow capacity in your district and improve student achievement? What's working and what might you want to improve upon, so that we can make sure that we have a coordination of efforts and what we're doing complements what you already have in your district and never contradicts what you have going. And so, with Decision 2A, our curriculum implementation support focuses on leaders first. And so we start with that district level support and work side by side with you to create whatever you need, whatever might be missing, which might be the time and the structures, creating formal roles for those PLCs or professional learning that's curriculum specific, so that we could start to grow capacity in your teachers. And so one of the pieces that we wanted to kind of spotlight is that in 2020, we did release a paper on high quality curriculum instruction. And so there's a lot of research that went into that, and a lot of learning that took place as a result and, through the implementation. And so, NIT, again, put those leaders first and provided direct coaching, which, was focused on these areas, a lot of which I've already touched on. But, ultimately, we know that in order to implement high quality curriculum effectively, we've got to cultivate cultures with trust and build those relationships. And so then we can work with you to establish and enable those structures for teacher success that are required in your district. We also want to make sure that we prioritize time for meaningful coaching and collaboration. So that was something that was crucial. That was some of the learning that took place as a result. Is we've got to provide time for the coaching to take place. We can't just release the curriculum and then expect teachers to be able to implement that at high levels without some coaching and some collaboration on the components. And then always creating coherence across the system so that this makes sense with current systems and to your teachers, and then monitoring the impact of those supports, through some progress monitoring, and then celebrating the progress along the way that inevitably comes with this process. And so we are working on some high quality instructional materials work with partners currently. And so we wanted to show you some examples of how it might look and how the work kind of evolved with our partner in this specific example. It can look many ways because, there's lots to do with this, but we are pressed for time. So we wanted to kind of just show you one way that this looked. And so with the partner, we knew that they wanted to really build upon making sure that teachers and students had access to high quality instructional materials. And so we started our partnership really working to build capacity in the leadership team. We started at the district level and worked with them to establish a vision for what they wanted to see in teaching and learning, and then help to co-develop those expectations and routines for use of the curriculum. And as we unpacked some of the needs of the district, they ultimately kind of determined that there needed to be a better system for how the teachers were able to access the curriculum materials that the district had adopted, and also some extra resources that they had. It was evident that the teachers were having a hard time organizing that for themselves and knowing what materials to pull, what would be those best materials. And so, we helped them with that process and then set priorities for how we would coach teachers and provide feedback. And then we would give them feedback on that process and what professional learning needed to take place and how was that going to align to the systems and structures that were established, but were all, and the ones that were already in full swing. And so these are some examples of the goals that were set. So in making sure that teachers and students had access to the high quality instructional materials, the district decided that they needed to provide some support for implementation by creating a clear and easy to follow guidance document for teachers. And then the other piece to that was that we needed to have a system in place for how to monitor student progress, but also how to respond to student progress or lack thereof toward the development of their grade level and content skills. And so embedded within that was also tracking and so developing a plan for that. And so this slide is really, it's showing number of walkthroughs. So I wanted to give some context for that piece. After we decided that, okay, so teachers needed that clear and easy to follow guidance, then we had to establish, well, what do we expect to see as a result? If clear and easy to follow guidance is the solution, then what impact would we expect that to make on instruction and for student achievement? And so we developed some look-fors. So what would we expect to see? And I'm going to kind of skip ahead and go back and forth between these slides. So here's some of the look fors that the district identified as what they would expect to see as a result of providing clear and easy to follow guidance with the high quality instructional materials for teachers. And so they wanted to see evidence of students interacting with and using the resources from the approved list within the guidance. They want to see that the lesson objective or the student expectation, the standard, is aligned to the pacing guide. So they wanted to see evidence that teachers used it to plan their lesson. So you can see some of those other look fors there. And so really, first once we established them, we had to have some training around what does this look like and sound like? So if we see evidence of students interacting, what would we expect to see? Like really unpacking the look fors to make sure we're calibrated and every evaluator knows what they're looking for when they go into the classroom. And the other piece was that we had to kind of shift the culture a little bit into making sure that we were going in and to the classrooms and looking for impact of this strategy. And so first we started, and I'm going back to this slide with let's just get into the classrooms and let's just make sure that we're getting in there with enough frequency to make sure that our data that we're looking at is actually good data that can really give us some insight as to what instruction is looking like. And so here we started with, kind of tracking the number of walks that were taking place on the campus. And so once we got to a good place with that, then we shifted to analyze these actual look fors. So what are we seeing in the classroom? And so we had some checkpoints along the way, and our goal was 75%. We wanted to see each one of these look fors at 75%. And you can see that, evidence of a daily check for understanding met that goal. And so, we then unpack. So what contributed to us meeting our goal here? What's in place that is working? And then looking at some of those other pieces that were not maybe growing or near meeting the goal and talking about, so what else do teachers need? How do we support them in the implementation of the curriculum? And how is this, what might we need to add to this guidance, or what might we need to train on this guidance? And so through that opened up a lot of conversations at the district level, but also the campus level of what was needed, and then working with campus leadership to really talk about, like, how do we provide this for teachers? Would that be through PLC during the day? Might it be through a professional development session after school? But maybe it's individual coaching. What do we need to put in place to make sure that the teachers are able to implement these pieces? And so this is just a little snippet of what it might look like, but I just wanted to kind of outline like the depth of what that implementation support could look like with an LEA. Okay. So I'm going to open it up and kind of stop talking so much because it's been heavy. But I do, as much as this is about you learning about us, we also want to save lots of time for you to ask any questions, or maybe hear about your vision and what you want in a provider and a partner for the curriculum implementation piece. So do you have any questions for us?